All right. So this is section, I think it's 36, maybe 37 of Descent into Fernia. Anybody want to give the recap today?
Well, we were looking. We left Haruman, Anja Haruman's Hill, and we were trying to figure out where to go next. We decided that, I think one or all of us at some point thought like I think it was someone that I want to say it was someone, I want to say it was Peter's character, was having visions. Lux was having visions about the keep, and it was like of how deadly and powerful the forces were there. So we decided to try to see if we could like find more weapons for our war machine. So using our wits, we looked around to see if we could find any dust clouds that we could use to kind of triangulate other vehicles. And we found one and started heading that way. At some point, we got lost in this storm, like this really dense, thick, smoky fog. Or no, it was a thunderstorm, actually. Yeah, it was a really, it was like this black cloud with like, yeah, just lightning going everywhere. And we couldn't really see that far in front of us. And as we were driving through, we just stayed the course. And I don't remember who noticed that there was something in front of us, but one of us did. We managed to like narrowly turn off and avoid hitting a very solid object, which we, for as much as we could tell, it like went straight up and kind of disappeared into the sky. We ended up getting out of this fog there, or the storm, and it was this massive creature. The thing that we ran into was this massive creature, and it didn't look like it was causing the storm. It's just like it happened to be walking through it.
It was nothing.
So we chased after this cloud, and we came upon a gang. In fact, it was the gang that that we met before, where we thwarted their attempts to harvest Azer skins. And so I forgot the ogre's name.
Dorgok, the one that Vegnog spared.
Yeah, the ungrateful bastard. He's like, he had a thing against Vegnog because he, took all his money and all his soul coins, and didn't realize the mercy that he was shown. Dorgok, we ended up kind of motioning them to come closer. We were trying to see if we could trade ourselves to see if we can make a deal with these devils/demons to in exchange for some weapons to add to our vehicle. Dorgok, of course, wasn't having it, but then his boss, the Shadow of Death, or Death's Shadow, or Mr. Predator Man, who is very tall, came out and was much more amenable to negotiating. And which point he said that he wasn't going to give us anything, but if we could somehow off his nemesis, one of the other his nemesis, which was some he said her name. And it was like a
Feanor.
Feanor.
Feanor with a F.
Feanor, yes. If we could off Feanor, who lived in the Dragon Skull and was a necromancer, a very powerful one at that, who commanded many a very large army of undead soldiers, then we would have he would shower us with whatever weapons we wanted. So that was, but he gave us nothing towards that goal, no help. We have the soul coins that we stole to begin with, and I think we ended the session heading off towards that dragon skull.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so just a few things to add. You guys had that smoke method thing at the beginning that you guys managed to deal with, where Project Ezreal critted the shit out of it. And then also you were able to fix the chomper on your vehicle. So that's one additional offensive capability that you now have with your war machine.
You said it was moderately fixed, not like to 100% effect.
Works okay.
Yeah. You said it works well enough.
Yeah. So
which if history tells, bad things will happen when we roll a fucking 1 on that.
So you're cautiously optimistic.
The whole damn vehicle's gonna blow up when we all die. Game over.
We basically fixed it.
Right. Yeah. I said it then. Klaatu.
So yeah, and it was the pyroclastic storm that you guys had been going through. Another thing that you guys discovered just really quickly, Ewan had decided to turn off the war machine just to kind of see what would happen, and confirmed that without the war machine's engine continuing to run, that the temperature regulation really was off and the vehicle quickly began to heat from the inside. So
it was actually a pleasant temperature, and then he turned the damn thing on.
Yeah.
like Lux's arthritis went away for like just a second, like as she just washed in this glorious heat.
That sweet spot right before she starts to cook.
It kind of reminds me of a book that I read that takes place in hell, and there's 2 sides to hell. There's the frozen side and the burning side, and there were some demons that would kind of try to flop back and forth between the 2, but it was like there was no gradient. It was instantaneous, so it was just yeah. So so you guys are heading towards the dragon skull, which you can see fairly clearly in the distance. You can also still see out in the distance that giant beast that was roaming about that nearly squished all of you. Which, just as a reminder, that was this guy.
also Lux was apparently trying to paint something. Very hard because she rolled 3 times to paint something.
Oh,
was-
that
that
was.
Yeah.
She was using her paint to
Marking
try
up.
and
Yeah.
to mark the parts that Ewan was taking apart, and also use
As
the paint
lubricant.
as a lubricant.
Oh yeah, that's right. We unjammed the frontal claw.
Yes.
Bumper.
Yep. The bumper claw.
So, yeah, so it works well enough.
Yep. Yeah, we know Mike.
So why don't we
Um,
just ride this giant creature? Throw some reins on it.
I mean, that's something you could try
Right.
if that is what you wanted to do.
It's
Who's
across.
good at-
It's going
Who's
across the
good at
river.
animal handling? I'm not the best at it.
I got a +2.
Mm. And you
You gotta
got
climb the motherfucker first. Fucking Shadow of the Colossus style. That thing's fucking enormous. So, but I'm ready. I'll do it.
All right, so do you guys want to change directions and head towards the giant then?
Well, we'll
Since
see.
it-
Right.
We'll see what we do.
Drive of giant.
Yeah,
Drive
since
them.
I don't think it's going to be like a single animal handling check to take control, might as well go to the dragon head
there might
first.
be a
See
couple.
how that works out.
Maybe it's not.
But
an animal.
we have a plan B at least.
In case we can't get into the dragon's head.
Well, if we could coerce,
Yeah.
coerce this creature into our side, we can take it and take with it Storm Dragon's Head Castle.
Yeah, we don't even need to go to the dragon. We just go straight to where we need to go. The giant fucking creature like that. Maybe we could strike a bargain. We have to-
Dormammu, I've come to bargain.
Yeah.
So, who is driving right now?
I don't remember. I guess
Well,
I guess it was me. Maybe it was
It
me.
has to be Ewan, right?
It doesn't
Because,
have
like,
to be.
Who else has land vehicles?
Solomon.
Solomon does.
Oh, okay.
Let's get Solomon in there too.
But Solomon's not like good in like a high stress situation because his dexterity is a -2. But he has the basics down.
So who is in the observer's chair or the watcher's chair, whatever you guys want to call it?
Vegnog would be in the peeper's chair.
Okay. So Vagnog, as you guys are making your way across the desert landscape towards the skull, are you looking at the giant creature at all, or are you more scanning the horizon and the direction you guys are headed, or where is your attention primarily focused?
Vegnog would be keeping an eye on this giant creature, but he'd be scanning around, just like the horizon, and also he'd be kind of also focusing on the actual rocks and the terrain itself, with a little bit more interest than he has in the past, to see if he can, he's pondering whether or not there are precious metals somewhere in Fernia that he can maybe use to his advantage.
Okay.
So he's going to be like looking to see if there's like, if there's anything he can kind of get with that.
Okay. So with the landscape and everything, you notice, and you notice this to an extent as well, because you have some visibility out of your driver's seat. But the terrain is pretty much fairly uniform. Lots of rocks and boulders. Some of them, Vegnag, you might assume they're made of like obsidian or onyx, various types of volcanic stones. And you eventually, because the path that this trek is taking you through, you do start to see the Fort Knucklebone, where Mad Maggie operates out of, not too far away. You can see that on the horizon. And then you do get a glimpse of green flashes of light on the horizon, marking the area where you've been told that Flamekeep Cathedral may be. Vegnag, as you are looking, kind of scanning the horizon and then taking shots back towards the behemoth, you notice at one point while you were looking away from it, where it was standing is now completely enveloped in a cloud of dust, just completely like a massive dust cloud. And then you for a few moments, you once again return to scanning the horizon. You see the massive dragon skull come into view. And then several minutes later, you look back, and not only is the dust like cloud gone, but so is the behemoth. There's no sign of it at all. Which, given the size of it, and it wasn't like it was like at the edge of the horizon where it might disappear over or anything. It was pretty clearly there. And then now it's not. So, and there's nothing that you can see that might obstruct it enough to have it like kind of just hidden behind, especially since you're moving and the obstruction might not last because of your positioning.
Gotcha. So it's just like it's kind of one of those situations where like you were looking at it, you looked away, and then it was gone.
Well, it was behind the dust cloud, and then after the dust cloud dispersed, it was gone.
Gotcha. that the creature is left. It is disappeared.
Disappeared where?
Solomon. I don't know. Dust cloud is gone. So is creature. Solomon, be careful. You never know where it can appear. And he like now Vegnog is like a little anxious that it's gonna appear like right in front of him.
Solomon is looking around the cabin, waiting, expecting it to pop in at any moment.
Something
So
that big doesn't just disappear.
Apparently it does. Mystery for another day, I think. Unless, of course, it does appear right in front of us. Keep an eye out.
Is the storm gone too?
It appears so. Perhaps this creature is linked with this dust cloud as if this sort of
Did it go into the river? It was moving that way. Is it swimming?
Can we see the river from where we're at? Or like, is it on the horizon or?
So that is actually a good question. I'm not sure that Vegnog would have a good answer for that. It's possible it may be that the river Styx is just that deep that even this thing would need to swim to get across. But so and then because of the geography, it's kind of hard to tell from this distance whether the river was near it. So
I have no idea. But we'll just count us blessed by the silver flame that it is something we don't have to deal with today.
Solomon does not respond to that. He looks a little sad.
So the trek is going to take you guys a couple of hours. It might even, just because of it being a bit farther to the west, it could take an entire day. So while you guys are driving, or while Ewan is driving, and Vegnog is acting as the lookout, what are you guys doing to fill the time?
"99 bottles of ale on the wall."
Yeah, I mean, Solomon would probably spend most of that time in prayer, given that our lack of faith allowed the gem of Cloynier to be destroyed. Clearly, we are doing something wrong, and he doesn't necessarily know what. And he'd probably tell Vegnog to keep an eye out for anything that looks like a dungeon made of bones, because clearly we have to go there.
What do you mean?
Well, when we slept, I had a vision of a dungeon made of fiendish bones. We were there.
Were they dragon bones?
Fiendish
weird?
bones.
I mean, is it a fiendish dragon?
I actually don't remember.
It is pretty damn big, that thing over there, according to this map.
Kurt, you should have a spot on your journal
Yeah,
that goes over your vision.
just looking at it. And maybe it is the dragon skeleton. But I believe we may find a rainbow serpent there.
Is this rainbow serpent friend or foe? Did your vision indicate any such?
My vision did not indicate that. But the rainbow serpent once did help out Tyr and Miran. So we can be hopeful that it may be a friend.
Well, any friend in this place is welcome.
It's probably not a friend. "79 bottles of ale on the wall."
Is there anything else that you guys do to pass the time?
That's what they had to do in the old timey days, just sing dumbass songs.
Vegnog is gonna continue just trying to catch glimpses of veins or traces of rare metals.
Okay. You don't really see very much. Like I said, it's nothing that would indicate any such. And I'm not sure how much experience Vegnog has in actually the geography or geological processes that support the finding those kinds of things, but there's nothing that you can see that would indicate any kind of precious metals or any kind of veins that might be able to be mined. I am curious if Vegnog did see like a vein of gold or something, how he might respond, but
Pull over.
Go that way. What? Why? Just trust me.
When he said he was looking around, I initially thought Dustin was going to say he was looking for precious metals like that might be in the vehicle. And then he'd be like stripping the catalytic converter off.
We don't need this. Pull the copper out of the air conditioning boards.
Solomon self-flagellates for 4 points of damage.
okay. What does he use to self-flagellate?
I mean, if he can't find something to whip himself with, he'll just cut.
Okay.
Tie a dagger to like a piece of string, flick it around.
So Ewan and Vegnog are all predisposed, so they might not notice this, but Lux, you're sitting right there.
Motherfucker whipping himself with a dagger. It might be noticeable, even if we're
Well,
fucking driving.
I helped tie the string so it wouldn't fall off.
Well, especially since Solomon would be like, ow, ow, ow.
What the fuck are you doing?
Penance for our many sins.
What the fuck are you doing?
We have need of
Till
you a whole
eventually it's
piece.
just, and you hear like a thunk. I think I've whipped myself enough. Mother, can you pull the dagger out of my back?
Look, you're supposed to let other people stab you in the back, not yourself.
Okay.
Are you feeling okay? Do you and Bagnog would like lean closer to Lux. Was he not beaten enough as boy? Is this making up for lost time?
Make his own decisions now.
Very well. But Solomon, we are going into Head of Dragon, and therefore it would be best if you were in one piece. Let
But
the
I
dragon
needed-
flagellate you.
Really, everyone here should do penance, but I must do penance for everyone.
It's entirely unnecessary. What good does it do?
It shows the silver flame that we are contrite for whatever failings we may have, whatever allowed Haruman to beat us. For the loss of the sacred relic, the jewel of Kroinir. The fact that we have not yet accomplished our mission and we are still seeking other paths rather than going to the temple like cowards.
We would die if we go there. That would accomplish nothing. We lost to that guy because we were just not quite strong enough. Faith had nothing to do with that.
Faith had everything to do with that.
I disagree.
That is why you failed.
I was fucking closer than everybody else here. I'm the only reason we have ever had a chance.
That is
I
true.
just shake my head at that.
That being said, next time we don't give him that satisfaction. We just beat his ass together.
That's what I said.
Not guaranteed to have been effective at that point, but I think the next time we have him.
If we fought him as one, there wouldn't have been a contest. If Ewan can almost beat him on by himself, no way he beat all of us. Granted, he did seem to almost heal himself to full health after that, so
Yeah,
we'd
That's
have
fine.
to figure it out.
it's fine. We'll get him next time. He won't have the satisfaction again. In the meantime, stop fucking hitting yourself with a knife.
I can punch you if you it might feel like a massage, but
I have no time for your massages. I have many prayers to say before we reach the dragon's head. And I will begin to loudly say a prayer to forgive Ewan for all of his sins and blasphemies and lack of faith.
Heard it all before.
So the hours pass. More conversation, I'm sure, takes place over Solomon's unique recreational activity. But at some point, Vegnog, you notice that, you're looking off into the distance. You're seeing the dragon skull. It's getting closer. But then all of a sudden, there's like just black in front of you. You see this too. It's just, 1 minute it's there, next minute, or it, 1 minute normal sight, next minute complete darkness. But it's only looking ahead. It's almost like a curtain of night has just emerged in front of the vehicle.
does it look like so it looks like when we look forward it's just black, but if we look behind it's not. Does it look like there's any sort of like barrier? Like, does it like wrap around the horizon at all, or like going out, or?
Yeah, so it does look like it kind of goes around, it kind of wraps around this area. But it does look like it's a wall of black.
I'll stop for a moment.
Okay.
Someone wanna toss a rock through that or something?
I can toss rock with my +5 or my -1 strength.
Just gotta throw rocks through. That's it.
Yeah.
I'm not
so
trying to
I'm
damage
gonna-
it.
I'm gonna toss a rock.
Well, are you gonna exit the vehicle through the door? Are you gonna go up on the roof? Like,
I'm gonna exit through the door.
okay.
Unless we have some rocks inside. I feel like we'd probably have to do that.
I mean, I don't recall anybody picking up rocks at any point. Maybe one of you guys was like an amateur rock collector and just hasn't mentioned it up until now.
Solomon has a whetstone.
Okay.
Well, don't throw that.
That he used to use when he had a sword. I don't know why he still carried it around, but he has it. It's in his inventory.
You never know. Maybe you find a better weapon.
So technically you have one rock.
All right. So you could use that, or you could, someone could exit the vehicle and there's plenty of rocks to pick up.
Yeah.
So.
Vegnog would probably exit the vehicle. He's been sitting in it for a long time anyway. Kind of stretch the old cybernetic legs.
Okay. The instant that you open the door, it's like a punch in the face of heat. And the internal temperature of the cabin goes up by like 30 degrees.
Lux is happy.
Nice.
And Vegna, you don't even need to roll, and even though you did roll pretty low, because it's not like you have a chance of missing. So as you throw the rock, it goes through the darkness. It doesn't seem like it hits anything as it passes through the darkness. And you do hear it land on the other side.
Vegnog attacks the darkness and rolls a 1.
He's the worst defender of the light you'd ever see.
Well, all right then. I say
It
we just
seems-
drive through this.
The works.
Can we? Does it just extend beyond our vision into the horizon, or
No, not straight up into the horizon. It seems like it's a certain area.
and is it a
and-
straight wall or is it like a dome? Can we tell that?
It does go up pretty high, but it doesn't appear to go straight up.
Okay.
It's a little difficult to see because it also doesn't like reflect light. It's not a dome, like a physical dome in that sense. So it does kind of trick the eye a little bit to look at it, and it's strange to see it. Kind of like when you see Vanta Black painted on something and you pass a light over it. Similar kind of effect. So it kind of messes with your senses a little bit, but you do get the sense that it's not just going straight up.
So is it like a wall of darkness, or is it that there is darkness ahead of us? And so like, could we measure out the number of feet between us and this darkness?
Yes. It is
So
a
how
wall
far
of
ahead of us is
darkness. How far did you stop?
I mean,
you and how
probably
much-
as soon as I saw it, like as soon as it popped up.
Okay.
Unless, I needed to get closer to throw a rock through it. I don't know how close we were to it when it popped up in front of us. So
I'd say it probably popped up within like 30 feet or so.
Jesus Christ, that was so fast. All right. What's the stop time on this vehicle?
No, I mean, by the time you
By
saw
the
it,
time we
you
stopped,
stopped.
Got
Then
it,
you,
got it,
you
got
were
it.
30 feet.
Got it. Fuck it. Let's just drive through.
So how wide is it? Could we just drive around?
You could try.
I mean, there
Let's,
must be a
uh,
reason that our enemies have put this wall up. So caution would seem to be wise.
Could just be a confusion tactic.
It could
It
be
worked.
less to keep things out, but to keep things in.
But it appeared right in front of us. It seems to be to keep us from moving forward.
According to that rock, we could just go right through it. So it's not preventing us from going through.
But we must assume it was put up for some purpose, not simply to delay us for a moment.
It might, now, if we decide to go around it, it's delayed us a lot.
How wide is the wall?
When you say wide, do you mean like how far does it seem to extend to the right and
Yes.
left?
Yes.
Far.
Okay.
You don't
Well-
get the sense that you'd be able to walk around it. You might be able to start driving. But once again, because of the nature of this darkness, it's not really reflective in any place. So it's hard to see an exact shape.
Let's see. Okay, I do not have dispel magic or anything else that might get rid of it, so let us drive on then.
Yeah, I'm sure it's fine. If we get attacked, we get attacked. Wouldn't be the first fucking time.
Okay.
I mean, with the door open, we heard the thing land. Do we hear anything else out there?
Well, Vegnog did. None of you guys could hear it because this is a very thickly armored vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
Sound doesn't really travel well, but Vegnog would have reported to you once he got back inside.
Yeah.
Or
What did
could
you
have,
hear?
I said.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I figured I got out, but
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. If you wanted to get out as well, then you would have heard it.
I figured put the thing in park, and then like as he's throwing the thing, I'll be coming out of the thing.
So yeah, you heard it land. Vegnog and Ewan, you guys can give me a survival check.
Hey, look at that.
Okay. So Ewan, for sure, when you hear the rock, it doesn't make a sound like you'd expect.
Mm-hmm.
Sound is slightly different based on what you would expect the rock to sound like if it were just thrown right next to you, for example.
Okay, like it doesn't make the same sort of, I don't know, ting or whatever.
Yeah, because I mean I would assume Vegnog, you probably picked up a relatively hefty rock. Because
Yeah.
those are the kinds of rocks that you would find around you. And the terrain is largely covered in a deep layer of ash and soot. And there's a number of harder rocks and boulders kind of pocked around the area. So you would expect the rock to kind of make like a poof type sound, I guess.
Like a thud or a crack against a rock, maybe.
Or a thud or a crack. Instead, the sound it's a dull sound, but it's also slightly different, and it's hard to say exactly how different. Well, with your check, it sounds almost like wet.
Okay. You hear that?
It sounds not like rock.
The wet.
Or-
Moist.
Is this one of my spells, Kurt?
Yes, that's why I couldn't remember what it did, so I clicked on the wrong button.
Sounds like it's some sort of moistness over there.
Hmm.
Some sort of,
Did it sound like a plop?
not like it landed into water, just that it landed on wet ground, like a squelch. like when your boots get wet and you start walking around, you know, something like that. Maybe. Does that sound about right?
Mm-hmm.
Perhaps we drive vehicle very slowly just through Black Shroud to see where in such a way that we could put it in reverse and back out if we need to.
We could theoretically stick our heads through.
Yes, there's no precedent in any of our games to make that a bad choice.
I said theoretically. On a technicality, something we could do.
While you
I'll
and
never say
Begna-
that's a good idea.
While you and Begnag are outside discussing this, Lux and Solomon, where are you guys? Are you guys still in the car?
Yes, I'm still in the car.
All right.
Yeah, I'm closer to the open door with all the heat coming in.
All right.
And I am probably just now getting around to some prayer for my mother that I will probably begin. All right, what are we up to? I think it's part 156 in the forgiveness of Lux. But otherwise, just waiting for them to come back in and say what they saw.
Yeah. Let's tell the others.
Right. So I go back in. It sounds wet on the other side. Not like plop, but squish.
You were looking through the viewer. Did it seem like it was like that whenever we were approaching this area?
All I see is black.
Yeah, I know, but
Begna,
just
give
before
me-
that.
Give me an intelligence check. Okay.
Pretty good.
So actually, as you're starting to recall that, because it happened so quickly that it didn't register at that moment. But now that Ewan is questioning you about it, and you're starting to think about it, you did see kind of a flash of an image before it went dark, and the flash indicated that it was almost like the sky was slightly different. It was a much bluer shade, whereas right now it's mostly shades of red and orange. And then the land beyond also maybe some green in there.
I actually think it's strange that you heard this thing hit wet ground, since honestly, I haven't seen that much water since we've gotten here. Or it would make so much mud.
As we were approaching before wall was erected in front of our senses. I saw flash, and then wall appeared, but just a moment before flash, the sky looked like back on the surface on our world. And I saw maybe green grass. It could be an illusion put up by the devils, the demons of this plane. But it could be that there is some sort of biome on the other side that is not like what we are experiencing in the rest of Fernia.
So is this wall of blackness like a way to get out of Fernia? Because if so, when we rescue Jayla Daran, perhaps we should come back here so we can run through. Indeed, evacuate all of Flamekeep and lead them here.
Well, Feanor was supposedly commander of Undead Horde. We want to at least verify the details of this accusation before leading innocents through. But at the very least, perhaps it would just be worth to drive slowly and see on the other side. And if we decide we like dust storms and disappearing creatures better, then we can always come back.
So does our vehicle have wheels?
Yes, it has 6 of them.
I look forward to getting our vehicle stuck in the mud. Let's go.
Yeah, do we have a limited slip differential here, or
That's a level of granularity that's above my pay grade. Ewan, give me a land vehicles check with intelligence or wisdom. You can use either one.
or wisdom? You say sounds good.
Okay. From your from the couple of days that you've spent driving this thing, you feel pretty confident that it has the power to get through, and that it would take a lot to create any kind of impediment to this vehicle. It's built very tough. It's built like a tank. So you're fairly confident that wherever you go, you won't get stuck.
Solid axles on this sumbitch. We ain't getting stuck. Unless we just like dove into water, and even then we might still make it. As long as we're not there for too long, because it will flood us. We'll go slow. Close that door.
I feel like we're like that where we were like hanging out for like an hour, like in front of the void sphere.
Right.
Like deciding like,
Meanwhile,
how we're gonna go in.
It's a one-way mirror sort of situation. There's people on the other side just like watching, like these fucking people.
I was thinking, meanwhile, Feanor runs out of the dragon's mouth and just runs away.
All right. We'll start driving slowly.
Okay. So you get through the darkness and your vehicle immediately gets stuck. No, it doesn't. I just thought that would be funny.
Yeah, it turns out power doesn't stop your wheels from slipping in the mud.
Yeah.
Man, we should have got mud tires.
Hell mud.
But you guys do feel everything kind of shift and change with the terrain. It is very wet. It is very uneven. It is very muddy, and the vehicle does slow down, even as you try to compensate, giving it more power. It is really struggling to get through. After the vehicle is completely through, Vagnog, your vision, and Ewan, as you're looking out the viewer, changes to allow sight once again, and you see the area around you looks very much like this. So you see, like, in the distance there are these hills. You're moving through what appears to be some kind of peat bog, making it it's very difficult for the war machine to move through it. It does do what it does get through, and it is continuing to move. You guys don't seem to be in a situation where you may get stuck, but this is kind of the terrain that you see. And then in the distance, in front of you, you do see what appears to be a castle, but this castle is not made from a dragon's skull, but rather looks much more like what you would think of for a stereotypical castle that you might see in ancient Britain.
And is it in the same direction that we were moving towards
Yes.
this castle?
Yes. It's also much cooler, which you notice because the environmental controls were made mainly to prevent heat, and so the vehicle, as you are moving forward, begins cooling down a bit.
Well, we made it through. It's
You also notice that the air doesn't taste or feel as acrid. It's not as hard to breathe the air, and it's the first time that you've actually noticed that you've been, because of the stark difference. It is very, very much improved comfort in terms of breathing.
so,
I want to celebrate the fact that this is better than on the one we just experienced, but I'm wondering if my senses are lying to me.
indeed. So if it's lying to us, it's also lying to the machine. It's also running cooler.
Perhaps we don't churn through as many soul coins.
Maybe. That'd be handy.
So behind us, is there still like some sort of portal?
Right.
So as you look behind you, you see the terrain of Fernia. So it's a very sudden change. Like, you can see where the transition happens from peat bog to ash covered ground. But yes, so when you look behind you, you can see that. Everything okay?
Well, this is not where we are supposed to be going, so back up and go around. Unless this is some sort of illusion, in which case we should disbelieve. And he squints his eyes really hard to disbelieve.
I disbelieve. You what?
It's a rather powerful illusion, if that's the case. It's tricking our vehicle. I don't know.
I have it on good authority that certain illusionists can change terrain for miles and miles for 10 days at a time.
Yeah.
And make it all real.
Only they could change the weather. That castle's in the same direction we were heading.
I think we still should press on. If anything, it's nice to have a little bit of a respite.
But that's not the castle we were going for. Is it?
Just disbelieve.
We don't know what the inside looks like. Could be covered in littered in bones.
Or we could be wasting our time. Or I mean, what have a Feanor was in the dragon skull? Is that the dragon skull?
I mean, it's in the same space as it.
But is it?
It's the direction we're going.
We've been heading directly towards it. I mean, it seems to reason that the amount of that what we are seeing is somehow masking the true underlying nature of Fernia. So it would make sense that this castle is also masking the true underlying nature of the Dragon Skull Castle.
My head hurts. If that's where we're going, fine. I will try to ask the Silver Flame to burn this illusion away.
There you go, buddy. No knives.
Make sure they, give them if it takes them a little bit,
Slide my
it's been
dagger
nice.
back into its sheath.
Get on that viewer and see if you can find us a dry patch of land that we can start moving along.
There's no specific dry patch. It's all gonna be rough terrain as far as Begnon can see.
All the way to the fucking castle.
Mhm.
Not a huge fan of that.
Good walk.
If we are, if this is some illusion masking the true nature, what pits are we driving through right now?
Indeed.
Again, I know certain illusionists that could create actual pits. So are we driving or walking?
Why would we get out of car?
So that we don't crash car into puddles.
We can drive through them.
We can if they are shallow. But since this is Fernia, who knows how deep some of these pools actually go.
Might be burning up more energy of these coins trying to get through this shit. How far out do we feel it is, like on foot? Like, can we estimate the distance to that castle?
with a good enough survival check.
I mean, we could see it.
Yeah.
Is it high up?
It does appear to be on a slight hill, but only very slight compared to the rest of the terrain.
So it can only be within a few miles. And if it, yeah, I don't know.
See, we just assume it's like scaled for men, not for that
That's true.
creature that was wandering around.
Right. This is how. Yeah, it's a tough call.
I mean, it is the first time we would have to walk in normal temperatures again. So that would be nice.
Just be up to our knees in fucking muddy water.
And it might be easier to find dry paths to walk on if we were on foot.
Maybe. We can have a quick look, see if we can find something. If we can't find anything easy, then I could be convinced to back up, see if we can go around.
That's fun.
So
we're walking.
all right. So you get out of the vehicle, and it definitely is very deep, muddy water. It doesn't go quite past your knees, at least for this portion as you are close to the vehicle, but it definitely is probably around mid calf, and you do feel your boots sink into the mud, creating a suction as you try to pull them up. So it is rough walking through it. You can do it, but it's not exactly comfortable. It is also fairly cold and wet. It's actually probably about 45 degrees maybe. So it's a bit on the chill side. And with the mud and water definitely pulling heat away from you and making it feel much colder.
And do we notice any, smaller, narrower dry patches that we can move to?
I mean, there are some. None of them last very long, though. And the difference is like, does the mud go up to your mid calf, or does it go around your ankle? So it's going to be rough going regardless. You can try to pick a path that is a little bit easier, but it's still rough going.
Luck's at that level yet where she could just run across all this.
I mean, Lux is what? You're 80 pounds soaking wet?
Is she? Man, it's a small ass half orc.
No, 150.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
So yeah, Lux is definitely, I would assume, to be not happy with the situation at all.
No.
Although with her ring of jumping, she
Yeah.
just like bound through all of it.
Well, if she can bound once and then bury herself in the mud on the other side.
Leaving her boots behind. Yeah, she jumps once and those boots stay stuck in the mud.
I think we should continue in the vehicle. It doesn't seem like it's any better. We're just gonna keep getting wet and uncomfortable. Although It is true, and it is nice to be cool for once. It was just a heat wave.
It is. This is something. All of this. I'm not a huge fan of it.
Well, it will be slow going if we walk, so I suppose we should try the vehicle.
All right, so you guys go into the vehicle and resuming.
Press.
Delay further so that we can all clean our boots off before getting back into the vehicle.
Don't want to track mud in the machine.
Do we want to go forward or do we want to back up and try and go around?
But the castle is the dragon head. So I assume the illusion will persist no matter what we do.
From here, you can see, especially if Begnag is looking through the viewer, that the intersection between this peat bog and the normal terrain of Fernia, you do see the barrier kind of circle around the area. So it may be that even if you tried to go around, you wouldn't be able to get to the Dragon Skull Castle that way.
When I was outside standing in the water, was there any sign of any life, like birds, bugs, something in the water, anything?
Actually, no.
Okay.
It was completely silent, other than the shucking of the mud as you guys were trudging through it. And that is for you, Lux, as you make that observation, it is somewhat disturbing, because this is actually, you're kind of at home in this territory, because the orc homelands, if you were ever in the Shadow Marches, very much did resemble this kind of land. And you would know from your experiences that in these kinds of, in a place like this, your memories include there being lots of insects, definitely things floating around in the water, and definitely sounds of creatures. It wasn't this eerily quiet.
Of course, a bog like this is a handy place to keep an army of dead bodies. For, a necromancer to do whatever the hell they want with.
You would goodly driving over those pits of corpses.
Good. You said you were what was tell us about your vision again, Solomon.
We were in a dungeon. It was made of bones. The bones seemed to be those of fiends. And we came across a rainbow serpent.
It was a literal like tunnel of bones, or dungeon of bones, like the walls made of bones, or
Yes.
okay. Again, necromancer, who fucking knows what they do with bones sometimes. Maybe they make a dungeon of them. Yeah, I don't know. Shall we move forward or go around? Attempt to go around.
If we go around, we will run into the same problem.
Maybe.
I think we would be wasting time to go around. We should go forward.
All right. Battle to the metal.
Okay. So, Ewan, it is difficult to get the vehicle moving again. It does take a little bit of finagling, but you are able to do it. And once again, you guys begin moving, though very slowly, given the amount of power that you're putting into the vehicle, Ewan. You would expect to be going much faster in the normal terrain of Fernia compared to the slow pace that you're going now. So I am curious, what are each of you thinking about as you guys are, or what concerns or what kind of things are coming up for each of you as you're moving through this strange peat bog from out of nowhere trying to get to the castle?
Suspicious question.
I mean, I am thinking because that this is all just an illusion, that it is some way of cloaking the dragon skeletons or skull that we saw in the distance. He doesn't understand why, like, what's the point of merely disguising it? Maybe like slow things down in the mud, but so many things here can fly anyway. Like, what does that do? So it must be to slow us down or anyone who's in like a vehicle like ours by forcing us to drive through all this mud. And so he is spending a lot of this time just disbelieving it, although he's not near a window, so he can't tell if he succeeded.
Except for the high revving of the engine.
Well, just because I can see through it doesn't mean you can. So you're still driving hard.
You gotta convince the vehicle that we're not in a peat bog. Maybe you gotta flagellate the vehicle.
I am willing to try. I take out my dagger.
Only the vehicle, not yourself. Ewan is just going to be like fucking eyes darting around, looking at whatever he can look at through his small viewing window. And he's going to be really annoyed if he was right that there's just an army of undead in this peat bog, just like in the
get out
water.
and check.
Anyone
like
bring
a
a shovel?
Do like a water
We could-
sampling.
Well, I was thinking we
Right.
could get out and I could destroy water and put everyone else look to see what's in the bottom.
I mean, doing a destroy water wouldn't be a terrible idea. It'd give us some idea of what the fuck's going on in this peat, in this shit.
Because I do have it prepared.
That's not a bad idea. Do you wish to try? We can pause for a moment.
I am willing.
All right. I'll stop the vehicle.
I'm gonna climb on top so I get a bird's eye view,
Okay.
since there are no birds.
And then Kurt, can you just post, there you go, thank you. All right, so are you casting this at first level?
Well, I guess we have to figure out
Yeah.
how many gallons are gonna be in whatever puddle we're trying to clear out.
10 gallons is not very much, really. Like it has a 10-gallon fish tank and it's like 2 feet long.
Mm,
I mean, maybe if you wanted to use an action point, something else could be arranged if you guys wanted to think more creatively with that spell.
I mean, I'll spend an action point.
Unless you have control water by chance.
I do not have control water prepared. There was not having seen any water in Fernia since we got here,
Yeah.
other than stuff in casks in the bar.
The ability to create water is always handy.
Right. Which is mainly why I have that spell prepared.
Right.
So what is it that you're trying to do with the spell? And
So
how do you want it to function?
So what I would like it to do is we find a sufficiently big pool that could hide like bodies or something significant. And we clear the water out of it so that people can look to see what's actually at the bottom of this pool. Obviously then water is going to flood in from other areas, but hopefully the mud will slow it down enough that people can at least get a look.
Get a glance.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you want to spend an action point, and I would say a second level spell slot with destroy water, then you would be able to clear out a pool and also use the magic to kind of temporarily prevent any water from the surrounding area from seeping in.
Okay, I'll do that.
Okay. So what does it look like when you cast a spell in this way?
So as I cast the spell, you see underneath the water, you begin to see sort of like a silvery light that clearly then starts to burst into flames in the water, then begins to boil, and then flash evaporates into the air.
Okay. So before you see a large area of uneven ground and mud, which is kind of, it's still a little bit moist, but it's not nearly sopping. It's more like well, it's no longer mud, but it's still moist ground. At the surface, you don't necessarily see anything, but Solomon, you are comfortable that your spell will be able to prevent the water from seeping in for the next couple of minutes. So if you guys had any tools like a shovel, or if you wanted to try and dig, you have that opportunity to do so.
I'm sure I don't have a shovel. Let's see what I do have.
yeah, I don't got a shovel.
I mean, I have a shield.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, you could use that as an improvised shovel for sure.
Right. And I sort of imagine it to be a kite shield for what it's
Yeah.
worth. So I will get in and start digging.
All right. Is anybody else going to be helping Solomon?
I mean, I don't have a shield, so
So I'll supervise.
I'm gonna.
Oh, that's right. That's right. I don't have, what I have is, I forgot, I was been using the shield bracer. So I don't know what that shield looks like. I was thinking of my original shield.
I mean, you can imagine it however fits your character. And I would say for the purpose of the item and everything, you are able to detach it from the actual bracer and use it as a makeshift shovel. Is anybody going to be willing to get dirty and use their hands, or is everybody just going to watch Solomon as he does all the work and the heavy lifting and the spell casting? And
I'm
Well,
gonna jump
what-
down and use the
I'll
bow
find-
staff and just punch it into the ground.
okay.
See if I hit anything.
And definitely with the bow staff, since it's adamantine, it goes through the ground like butter. Like it is really dense and heavy, so it is a really perfect tool for this, except for the fact that it's like only an inch in diameter. So both of you guys are doing that. Vegnog, Ewan, are you guys contributing in any way?
Yeah,
Yeah, I
keeping
can-
a watch.
Okay.
That's not unreasonable. That's fine.
Are you doing it from outside, or are you using the scope within the vehicle?
That's a good question. Does the scope within the vehicle give any particular range over like? Does it give any like significant range over what we would be able to see just standing on top of the armored vehicle?
So the benefit of the scope is that it's much higher. So it does give you a clearer vantage point of the terrain around you for that reason. But it also has its own limitations too, because you have to, it's not as easy as just turning your head. You have to swivel the scope.
Gotcha. Yeah, I didn't know. Like, so it's like a periscope. It doesn't
Yeah.
have any sort of magnification. So I think Vegnog would just be on top of the war machine.
Okay.
Using that as a vantage point.
Okay. And then Ewan?
I don't have a problem getting my hands dirty and
Okay.
literally punch people.
So you guys can give me strength checks, or if you're proficient, you can use athletics. Kurt and Lux, because you guys are using tools with that, you can also add an additional D4 to your check. Okay. So yeah, at right about the same time, all three of you eventually, it doesn't take very long, and you unearth several mummified bodies that have been preserved in the peat bog. And just as you find them, the water from Kurt's spell begins to slowly start to seep in. It's not like rushing in, but you guys can start seeing it trickling into the earth around you.
So I was right.
yes.
You also
Undead.
notice the bodies. Some of them are humanoid, some of them are fiendish, some of them are unidentifiable. Or rather, one of each, since each of you found a body.
I think we might be going in the right direction, but hopefully these sons of bitches don't just come rising up out of it.
Well, it probably will make it hard for us to escape if we need to quickly, but I don't see that we have much of a choice.
And the things that you uncover are really creepy as well. They look very similar to this.
Rope and all.
Yeah.
Cool.
So what do the non-humanoid ones look like?
Similar consistency, but the presence of horns and fangs and just differences in their size.
So like
So-
fiendish things, or
Yeah, so one of them is like a humanoid, one of them is like a fiendish thing, and the other is not really recognizable. Or at least not in a way that you would classify as humanoid or fiendish or animal. But it is a creature of some sort.
Fun. Let's just keep an extra eye out.
so I will clamber up out of this pit we're in. And then look out and like vaguely begin to count like the number of pits until like I just can't count anymore. So like 4.
Gully dwarf counting. 1, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2.
There are a countless number of these pits, so it would make sense that an entire army could be hidden here.
Yeah. Hopefully we don't have to fight a whole army. Maybe a small army we could deal with.
We don't know how strong these creatures will be if their mistress summons them.
Yeah. Do these doors lock from the inside?
They do.
Perfect. Just lock the door and hopefully never have to encounter these guys.
So Lux, what's going on for you as you guys find these bodies?
Yeah, I'm not really sure. I mean, obviously, I would think that I would like try to remove one of these things' heads, but thinking twice, it may make it come to life. And I don't need a chain reaction. But it's kind of disturbing that they're keeping these bodies in this bog. So I'm thinking more, it's more not, it's, I don't think it's an illusion. I think it's more just some sort of different alternate setting that this necromancer has set up.
It's not the first one we've dealt with. This is just probably better suited for serving these bodies.
I'm sorry, I'm just laughing at what Kurt just wrote. Sorry, Ian, what were you saying?
I was just saying that, you know, it's not the first sort of individual realm we've encountered. The cemetery was similar, and it's the way it worked. There's obviously a better environment for conserving bodies.
Nothing says we have to fight this warlord. We could negotiate and see what they want. Maybe they have a better deal and we just turn around and kill the other guy.
One can hope.
Then we have to go all the way back.
I'm sure he'll come to us.
Feel like if we're here, we might as well just kill Fëanor.
What about Vegnog? How is Vegnog reacting as these bodies are unearthed?
He just grabs his crossbow and is like on alert, sentry mode, waiting for all the dead bodies to be erupting around us. I am not surprised. But we are here and we should press on. I am guessing that Feanor already knows we are here since we have crossed our barrier.
I suspect that is true as well. Well, there's nothing to do but move forward.
So you guys get back in the vehicle and start trudging back towards the castle again?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. 69 bottles of ale on the wall.
So, let's see, 1 second.
You guys ever see that movie Dinner for Schmucks?
I have, yes.
Yes.
Solomon is the guest that we bring.
I love that movie. It's been a long time since I've seen it. But I remember when I saw it, I watched it a few times because I laughed so hard at it.
Yeah, that one's pretty good. The movie that got me kind of the most that I've seen like a billion times was the full director's cut, whatever, for The Other Guys. It's Will Ferrell and Mark Wahlberg.
I think I saw that movie in the dollar bin, but I haven't I've never seen it.
The regular like the theater release is not as good. It's missing like great interactions with some of the characters that makes the movie so entertaining.
Guys, especially since Kurt had to step away, let's take a quick 5-minute break. And then also, Peter, give me a wisdom saving throw.
Oh, okay. Sure.
See y'all in a couple minutes.
All right.
Fuck this character in particular.
Yo.
Yo.
So you missed it, Kurt. We all took a 5-minute break, but just before we broke, I have told Peter to roll a wisdom save.
And he did well. Sure, the DC is 12 or less. Yeah, I don't think I've ever even heard of Dinner for Schmucks, so I'll have to look for it at some point.
Oh,
See if it's on any of the services that I have access to.
it was on Netflix for a while. I don't know if it still is, but that movie is it's both really funny and really just such cringe. Like I felt like I just needed to go real deep into my couch crevice at times during that movie.
Yeah, might not be the movie for me then. I don't do well with cringe.
Yeah. It's like, oh, let me just hide under this blanket for
Right.
a while.
Hey, stop it. What are you doing?
Have you guys ever played the board game or a tabletop game, X-Wing?
Mm-mm.
No, not the board game. Is it a
Gotcha.
Star Wars game?
It is. It's like a
I've never heard of-
tabletop.
I've just never heard of the board game X-Wing. The video game, I remember the video game.
I think it's like a Warhammer style like tabletop game with minis and stuff.
Mhm.
But one of my friends is like, there's like a tournament or convention happening in Chicago in like March, and he was like, oh, like he said a tabletop tournament. Like, great, I would love to go. I was thinking it's like a Gen Con, but it's like a war game thing. I'm like, well, I could be playing. It could be interesting, and I watched some like tutorial videos on it. It seems all right. I was just curious if you guys have played it or.
So it's a recent game then?
It's on second edition, so I'm not sure like how recent it is.
Because one of the things that always sort of the first things I look for whenever I see like a sci-fi tabletop game is like, what is their space fighting mechanics? Because to date, I've never really found one where I love the space fighting mechanics. So I'm always curious to see what people have come up with to try to improve that aspect of these games. But if it's named X-Wing, I assume that's kind of the point of the game. So I'm sort of interested in it in theory, if only to see how complicated the mechanics are. And that's sort of the problem is you have to skirt a line between, you don't want everything to be so complicated no one can figure it out.
Yeah. It seems it's not gridded or anything, and it's got like you have like a yardstick that tells you rate that provides like a sense of range or distance.
Right. That is the old fashioned way of playing. They didn't originally have grids. They just measured out inches between different pieces on the maps in all the old war games, like the people who did like the recreations of the Napoleonic Wars. That's all they ever did.
So yeah, it has that bit. You place maneuvers and you place obstacles in your ships, and then you have different maneuvers that you could do, and some maneuvers are penalized. Seems interesting, but I've never really played any tabletop war games, so.
I mean, so just like role-playing games, they've gotten better over the years. Like back originally, D&D started out as one of those. It was Chainmail was just a medieval war game that you played on in exactly the same way on just an open table where you would put up like different terrain markers and move the minis around to fight one another. And then it just sort of evolved into, well, you take your unit, and instead of a unit, you had an individual character who was just stronger than the rest. And slowly it evolved from there. But I mean, that sort of wargaming has been around for a long time, but it's really gotten better in the past like 20 years. People really thought out the rules to make them a little more comprehensible and fun. So, it could be interesting. I want to look it up now.
All right.
I say that I shouldn't say that it was unfun before. A lot of people were into that hobby for a century. So there was definitely something enjoyable about it. I just think the theory of how to structure the rules has gotten a lot better.
Makes sense.
Cat sat on the keyboard and turned my camera off.
So Peter, are you happy with that save, or do you want to use an action point?
Yeah, I'll go with that save.
Okay. So nobody else is aware of this, but Lux, suddenly your mind begins flashing with different thoughts, different memories. You remember the agreement that was made with the shadow of death to come here. You recall the recent encounter that you had with Haruman and the discussions that you guys have had regarding the Flamekeep Cathedral. Just all these like random memories and thoughts from the recent within the recent day or so. And so that's what you experience. You also get the sense that it's strange that you would think those things because there wasn't a reason for you to think those things.
Well, you know, when you smoke as much as I do, sometimes strange things happen.
It's true. That's fair. So, anything that you guys are doing as you are continuing through the peat bog towards the castle?
56 bottles of ale on the wall.
I turn my back to the driver's seat and begin reciting my prayers, occasionally scratching the side of the vehicle with my dagger.
He's doing it.
Okay. So Solomon and Lux, you're the first to notice this, but without any warning or anything, where is it? No, get off.
My cat now sees you and it was investigating.
Stop. Okay, here.
Maybe he said the other
The other
cat.
cat, yes.
Right.
Yeah, Ted, I got a new computer chair, and Ted Cooper destroys computer chairs. And so I have been really trying to keep her off of this chair and away from scratching it. But anytime I'm sitting in it, all of a sudden I'll feel her begin to try and claw at the back of it, and I'll have to swivel and get her to stop. And like at this time of night, she's always like looking at me like she wants something, but she doesn't ever indicate what it is that she wants.
She's like, get off the Zoom. It's my turn, bitch.
Sort of,
I gotta
I mean,
call
you're
my-
you're the one who's confusing the cat. You buy her this new
Yeah.
scratching post, and then you chase her away.
Yeah. Mixed signals.
diluted apple cider vinegar and spray the chair.
Yeah. I suppose I could do that. But anyways,
Then your house smells like apple cider vinegar.
That's why I said delete it. Our cat stopped messing with the fucking Christmas tree curtain. God damn it. Fucking cat. There.
all right. So
I do completely understand. Like, you get this strange look from your pet, and you sort of, on a certain level, expect them to tell you what it is they want.
I mean, I can tell that she probably just wants to play, but it's like, then I try to throw her ball and whatever, because my cat actually plays fetch, but then she doesn't return it. I'm like, well, I can't play with you if you don't bring it back.
So she doesn't play fetch.
Well, she usually does, but in these moments, she's like, no, that's not enough. So.
You throw it, I grab it, you come and get it, and you throw it again.
So this appears in the middle of your cabin.
Okay.
So this figure, the figure does appear to be this green color. It is a translucent image, and she looks to each of you and she says, "This is not your realm. You should go back to where you came from."
And who are you?
I am the lady you seek. I am Feanor.
But if you know we're seeking you, then surely we should keep going forward.
It would not be wise.
If you would like to come out and meet us, then I'm gonna like pass my hand through the image.
So it is an illusion that you can see. But she responds, "I know that Buja Dikide sent you. I know that you have an arrangement. You should back out of whatever deal that you made. Return to your quest."
To be fair, this arrangement is even a very loose term for what we have going on with that guy.
What does the Shadow of Death have against Feanor?
My realm is on a highly sought after resource.
Is it all these bodies in the water?
No. Those are my studies.
What the only resource we have seen that is highly sought after is soul coins. Does your land possess some ability to make soul coins?
No. The resource that my land is upon is no concern of yours. If you wish to keep your lives, you should return. I have been watching you. I see that you are reasonable. I have read your minds.
I knew it.
You should turn back. This is not an issue you wish to involve yourselves within.
So remind me, because I can't remember, what exactly was our deal? Come deal with her. What do we get out of it?
Go ahead.
He said he would give us like
Like weapons for our
weapons.
thing, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
It wasn't really specific on like what weapons, like, or we didn't really like have the specifics to bargain.
Mhm.
I would say, Vegnog, with your history of negotiating, you can kind of instinctively tell that Buja Dikide would have not only offered you weapons, but also Azer skins, and potentially aligned himself with you if you were able to either kill or significantly weaken Feanor.
So yeah, I mean, I'll just speak that. Like, I mean, listen, I mean, like I said, our dealings with him are fleeting. If there's a better opportunity that can help us along,
Ewan and Vegnog, both of you give me history checks.
move around my cat here. Hold on. History. Man, I'm fucking
Damn,
on it today.
So you recognize her accent as well as some of the, it appears to be tattoos that she wears, as well as some of her physical attributes. Despite the fact that she is clearly undead herself, she is also an Aranali elf. And in Eberron, the Aranali elves were, their culture is very much wrapped up in death, specifically in carrying on the memories of their elders, which they do through a process that is similar to the creation of liches. However, it's more related to positive energy and radiant energy rather than the normal necromantic processes. So it is very interesting that, one, you would encounter an Aranali elf here in Fernia, and two, that an Aranali elf seems to not only engage in necromantic practices, but also seems to have partaken in some of those processes in herself.
Sure. How does one like you end up like this? Undead, dealing with undead. Isn't this sort of sacrilegious for you?
I disagree with those of my kin, and so I have sought refuge in this place to engage in my studies which I am alone, and I seek the solitude of this place, which is why I am encouraging you to turn back while you still have that choice.
Is there something? Our goal is to continue on our quest, but we cannot do so with the resources we have. Is there some? If we left your lands, is there something you could provide us, either physically or a tip, information for being able to break into the cathedral, the Flame Keep?
I am aware of your quest through your memories. It is of no concern of mine. I understand what it is you're trying to do. It has nothing to do with me or my goals. I don't care about the world that we have come from. It is free to burn or to be covered in darkness as it may. If you wish to seek opportunities, find the Wandering Emporium. But stay away from my lands. And do not come here again. I will not be so hospitable.
Wandering on Emporium. I mean, anything you can tell us about that?
It is carried upon the back of a great beast.
I think I saw that son of a bitch.
Yes, you have. Go there. Leave me alone. Do not seek me again. Do not return to my realm.
It kind of disappeared. It's my understanding.
You will find it again. It does not stay gone long.
About this warlord, Shadow of Death.
What about him?
Well, has he tried to come here before?
Yes. He has never made it very far. Or at least those that he has sent as his emissaries. He is too cowardly to face me in my realm.
Yeah, I got that from him.
So what would happen if perchance they thought that it was really safe and they all just decided to show up?
I doubt they would be so foolish, but they would not leave with their lives if they attempted such
Okay.
things.
This is perhaps an opportunity for you then. Be rid of these nuisances that he keeps sending your way, like us. If we could take some sort of proof that we have dealt with you, then he would come here to try and claim the territory, and then you could just wipe him out.
I do not wish for him to come here. I do not wish to have to, as you say, so crudely wipe him out. Still,
Wouldn't he make interesting studies? You have many studies under water.
Right under our feet.
no.
Would he provide any additional insight?
His body is of no value, none such that it would be worth the effort. However, it
I
is
haven't heard that before.
However, it is interesting, the idea of him finally stopping. If it will
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, sorry, Kurt. Were you saying something?
Yeah, you're muted.
Yeah, I was just saying, so what would it be worth to you if we wiped him out?
I do not have weapons like those that you seek, but I do have other things. Still, he is a trivial matter. It is annoying, but no more than that.
Starts that way.
Is he the only ones after your lands? Or are there others who wish
They are.
to have your resources?
There are many others.
Who is the greatest of your foes?
She contemplates a moment in thought. Azoth, the Wrecker. They are the greatest threat to my studies, my solitude.
Because they come in and wreck up the place. And like Fegnar looks around, trying to see if he can get up. Like, yeah, you get it.
She just remains stone-faced and unamused. He is concern of mine. His power is substantial. And he has joined other war bands together in an effort to consolidate power to take my realm.
Who are we talking about?
Azoth, the Wrecker.
A-hole the wrecker.
Azoth.
Yes.
Which one was Azoth?
It's I think a new one. Fegnog is upping the ante by getting us to go after her most powerful enemy.
Yeah. Trying to skip to the end boss, basically.
Well, you know, A-hole the Wrecker.
Better than the a-hole wrecker.
I need to get back to my studies. You should leave. If it will expedite you leaving my lands, then you can take this. And she takes a ring off of her finger and then drops it, and it for real drops onto the floor with a clink. Like it starts out translucent, as it leaves her hand, it suddenly becomes real. Give this to Buja de Kide. Say it is a sign that you have dealt with me. If he is foolish enough to trust you with that trinket, then his end will be met slowly and painfully.
Those are my two favorite words in relation to Buja de Gete. All right.
I only wish I could watch.
Go now before I change my mind and add you to my collection of specimens.
We're not worth it. Don't worry about it.
As I said before, do not return.
Not if I can help it.
Let's turn her around.
And then with that, her form fades from the cabin.
Throw this
This
thing in
would have been-
reverse.
This would have been a good time to have that underground boring machine, because we could have gotten right up to our castle. So are we just giving up? Are we going to go kill Boo Boo the Baby, or are we going to find the giant monster?
Well, we didn't necessarily have to kill. He didn't ask that we killed Feanor, but more so decreased our power. So we could return with this ring as a sign that we did something.
Do you think he will actually give us the weapons without verifying that this was done, though.
If we're convincing enough.
I think maybe we should check out this wandering merchant or carnival, or I forgot what you called it.
Emporium.
The
Emporium.
Wandering Emporium. Yeah.
Let's-
I
Maybe
mean,
we
if
should
we kill this
find
guy,
this
can't we
first.
take the weapons we want?
We are not powerful enough to kill him. Not yet.
So our plan then was to come kill the woman he's afraid to kill.
Well, we never really thought it was possible. But it
Honestly,
doesn't hurt to see if we could get a better deal.
yeah, I think that was primarily what we were looking for. A way that we can more efficiently kill that demon. She, I don't think, is necessarily evil. Just different in her ways.
The bog mummy that looked to be strangled to death may differ on how evil she is.
Like I said, different in her ways.
But she does seem powerful, and throwing away our lives will not accomplish our true goal. So perhaps we go find the Wandering Emporium, and if that doesn't get us what we need, we go back and turn the ring over to, I've already forgotten his name, the death guy.
Mhm.
Sounds good. It's precisely what I was thinking. You must be a mind reader.
Apparently she is the mind reader. I didn't even sense my mind being read.
I did. I immediately said, that's a suspicious question. Immediately sense some shifty shit going on.
So I will pick up the ring.
Okay.
That was a wisdom save, just in case.
So as you pick up the ring, it does feel very cool to the touch. You can also feel it resonating with something that makes you feel a great unease. This ring is very unnatural, and it is not meant to be held by the hand of somebody who is faithful to the silver flame.
Well, maybe we can find a way to destroy it then, if we don't wind up needing it.
What about
Maybe
it?
we can
It feels
see if we
evil.
can.
Who does it?
Maybe if we pass any
If
volcanoes.
Alyssa were here, she would definitely want this ring to add to her collection of evil magical items.
Let me see it.
I'll hand it to her.
Do I sense any evil?
Oh yes. It's not the sensation isn't nearly as strong to you as it is in Solomon. But it definitely does make you uncomfortable to hold the ring.
Okay. I mean, And he should definitely feel something, hopefully, whenever he grabs that. Unless any of you guys evil by chance. Like looking to Lux and then Becknock.
I also look to Lux.
I will take the ring and look at it.
Are you evil? I don't know. I got doesn't. I'll hand it to you.
I mean, Lux is held worse in her hands.
Right.
Any reaction there?
I mean, it's a little, you know, like Lux, you can see why Solomon and Ewan are reluctant to hold it, but for you, it just seems like, meh.
Is there a? There's not an appraise skill. What is? I want to figure out what this thing's worth.
So, what are your tool proficiencies?
Buller's kid or something.
Painter supplies.
Is that it?
I have a herbalism kit and I have some thieves tools, but I'm not proficient with them.
Okay. You could just do history or intelligence.
Ooh,
I am reversing. Well, we are pulling out of this place.
Okay.
I mean, Vegna can like help Lux, as like, and like maybe like inspect this because he is proficient in jeweler's tools. So like,
Oh yeah, that's
maybe-
right.
Okay. So then, if you want to do it, then Vecna, because
Yeah.
Lux, for you, it just seems like it's just another silver ring. Doesn't seem very special.
Yeah. I mean, I probably can't get it. I probably can't get a decent score of dope with this, so it's kind of.
So Vegna, go ahead and give me a check. Use intelligence for the kit.
then add proficiency to that, which is
Wait, when you're rolling, are you rolling from D&D Beyond or Roll20?
D&D Beyond,
Oh, okay.
which doesn't let me like roll
Beyond.
the tools.
Right. Okay. So then in your proficiency bonus, it's 3.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So based on the materials and the gemstones used, this is a fairly expensive ring. It would definitely be something that you would be happy to see come across your merchant scales. But as you hold it, you can definitely sense the unease and somewhat of a tension as you hold the ring. For you, it kind of sits as it's uncomfortable, but whereas for Solomon and Ewan, it was a sense of evil and discomfort. For you, it's one of almost conflict. You feel like a sense of almost like you're kind of the sensation that something is trying to separate from you while you hold this ring. and it creates a tension, and you're feeling like you have to pull it back to maintain your sense of self.
I don't know if this ring is. This is very, very good ring. I don't know if it is evil outright, but it is definitely has some sort of draining effect. Of what it's draining, I cannot tell. Maybe soul, maybe life, maybe sense of self. It is unclear. So maybe it is evil. But it seems to feed or leech off of whoever holds it. So I think we should maybe keep it in the box or in the glove compartment. The
Yeah, it
gauntlet
should-
compartment.
It shouldn't be anywhere where a damn smoke monster can get to it. Or we can keep a better eye on it.
And I have a place to keep it.
Do you?
I do. And I pull out like a semi-ornate alms box that has like a metal lining inside it. And hold it, open up the top and hold it out for Vegnog to drop the ring in.
Vegnog will like keep it in his hand and like do the thud.
So
I
the
thought it was
moment
going to be like, the ring is mine. So yeah, I have a lead lined alms box that I never really use for much.
Okay.
But it'll serve for this.
So the minute that you close the box, the sense of unease immediately leaves the room, and things return to normal.
Alrighty.
Where'd my buzz go?
Well, apparently left with the went inside the box with the ring.
Speaking of buzz,
Oh, we should have asked where on the creature the Emporium is,
On the back of it, she said.
but its back is huge.
Indeed. It'll be quite the challenge.
I'm just
It's,
glad it's not underside the creature. 'Cause
We
that
didn't
would be
exactly-
uncomfortable.
We didn't exactly get a good look at its feet. It was walking through the damn storm. And then it disappeared. Maybe there's a ramp for our vehicle.
Little spiral ramp going up around the creature.
It's like a switchback path.
Or maybe we go back to the deaf guy and we see if he can sell us something that we can attach to this that will let our thing like climb. Like the Thundercat tank.
I mean, whichever. Whichever one we encounter first. How about that?
Let's get out of here, I suppose.
I forget. He just said to go back to that general area, right?
yeah.
How far away was that again?
Is about a day from here. It's actually getting close to the end of the day today, because you guys were traveling quite far. Which, based on Vegnog, where you saw the creature disappear, it's probably going to take a day to get to that location as well.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe there's like a hole over there and he just sort of shimmies down inside of, and then you can get on top of it.
We were about a day away from a day's journey to where this creature the last location we saw this creature. I think we should rest as soon as we get out of this realm.
I'm just gonna like think, not out loud, just like think, asking the lady if we could just like rest just at the edge, but like just inside, so that we're not like heating up our vehicle while we just rest and then we leave when we wake up.
So is that just thinking that
Yeah, just like project that out.
doesn't have, you don't notice anything different happen?
Mhm.
So is that what you do with your vehicle as you get to the
No, so like
edge?
if I sort of guesstimate, like how long, if I'm kind of getting close, I'll just sort of like project that outward into the mind sphere, the mind space, and then maybe she'll respond before we get there. If she doesn't respond, well, I don't want to think it.
She doesn't respond. Not in any way that you can tell meaningfully.
So I don't remember this ever being asked, but if the vehicle we're driving, is it just the terrain in like regular Fernia, not in this place? Is it just too rough for other people other than the, not counting the driver, to get a long rest in? Because we have two drivers. So rather than stop and have people stand watch, at least when Ewan or Solomon are on watch, they kind of might as well be driving. Right, unless it's just like, nobody can sleep properly because the vehicle's in motion.
I would say it's a combination of that, but also like I would say similar to the rules of what's considered light activity for when you're doing a long rest. Like you can't walk while doing a long rest. So I would say that it's kind of a similar amount of effort, at the very least, in terms of mental attention that you need to give to the road and
Right, and
navigating obstacles.
I
But he's-
understand that the
yeah.
driver wouldn't be counted as resting during that period, but I
Oh,
don't know about everyone else.
well, so if somebody wanted to risk a level of exhaustion and just forego a long rest, then I mean, yeah, other people could rest while the vehicle is in motion.
I mean, we could, since it's like a day to get there anyway, right? One of us stays awake, drives for 8 hours while everybody sleeps or whatever. And then when they wake up, whoever was driving just goes to sleep.
Right, and if we don't wind up getting like attacked, then everyone will get rested.
Right.
If
Right.
Yeah, but then won't after the first driver is rested, then everybody else will be 8 hours in.
Yeah. There'll be 8 hours in of 16-ish adventure hours for adventuring. So I mean, right?
Yeah.
And worst comes to worst, the driver can just risk the level of exhaustion and not rest. Because at this point, we've dawdled quite a bit. And there's, there is kind of a clock on this. I feel like going without sleep would make the most sense.
Mhm.
And
Okay.
it's not 100% clear that we have to go without sleep. It's really only a risk that maybe one of us won't be well rested. Although it's going to be Ewan or Solomon who are the unrested one. And Solomon's suffering a grievous knife wound in the back.
Okay, well, so then, what would the conversation look like amongst the team then, in terms of?
I mean, actually, Solomon would say, why don't you rest and you tell me where we're going and I will drive in that direction. I will rest later if I can, but if I can't, well, so be it. But we don't have time to waste stopping every day, especially when we have a whole day's ride ahead of us.
Feel like we're gonna wake up 8 hours later and be in the exact same spot.
Yeah.
Wake
no-
up, Solomon's just asleep.
Foot on the gas, just fucking. Who knows where we are?
In a complete circle.
Solomon just wedged his
Yeah.
shield in. To push the gas pedal down.
But he leaned on it, so he turned the wheel, and so we're just driving in circles for 8 hours. No, it's like no.
Just put all our sold coins in at once to keep it running.
Put a brick down on the pedal and let's get moving.
Got a whetstone that nobody threw.
No, you got spells and shit. You sleep. I'll stay up.
I will remain on lookout. It is sensible.
Oh, yeah, you don't sleep. Come here, I'm gonna teach you how to drive this fucking thing.
That will only take 250 hours per the rules. It's worth it.
Different in hell.
I would say, Ewan, if you want to show Vegnog how to drive, you would be able to make him competent enough to do the basic things. But if it came down to like maneuvering in combat or anything like that, there'd be a severe disadvantage to the things that Vegnog could do. So
Sure.
We are in Fernia, so the DMV is probably on every corner.
with a line going around the block.
Yeah.
Everybody's waiting.
Nobody can long rest because
Yeah.
Bagnog is just grinding the gears, trying to work the clutch.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna teach him how to maneuver this thing. It's like, all right, don't drive into combat, obviously.
I'll try
Avoid
not.
everything.
I could not take
Yeah,
I
you,
cannot recharge my batteries while driving, you realize. But I can alleviate some burden.
oh, I thought you didn't sleep.
He doesn't sleep, but he still needs to engage in 6 hours of light activity.
Yeah, and according to Sentry's Rest, I have to be in an inactive, motionless state, which means if I'm driving, like I better hope nothing comes.
Yeah, man. There we go.
And he's like, I am conscious, so like, I'm like, oh no, I can't.
It's like a weird sleep paralysis.
Right.
Yeah.
He can't say anything, but he can see the cliff he's about to drive off of.
So like that works really well for like being a lookout, but not for like necessarily operating a heavy machinery.
Just imagining that scene from Men Who Stare at Goats.
I just watched that the other day.
You had the whole desert to drive in. You hit the one rock.
I'm just thinking Vegnog, the driving Warforged.
Coming one with the machine.
I would say Vegnag, for the purposes of that, it doesn't actually mean like motionless, but rather like you can't be like you can't be walking while resting, essentially. So I would say that for you, you could probably get away with driving and long resting and getting the benefits of a long rest.
That's fair, like a highway hypnosis where you're like kind of getting a rest, but it's like lulling you to sleep.
Well, I think because Warforged, the intention is that you guys are constructs, and as constructs, you don't require sleep. But mechanically, you need to have something that says that you can't just be engaged in combat and gain the benefits of a long rest when,
right.
So, but I mean, I think, for the purposes of with you being a Warforged and the unique kind of requirements for you to benefit from a rest, I would say that for you, driving would count as light activity.
Okay. So yeah, I'll learn how to do donuts from Ewan.
All right, so Ewan, let's see how good of a teacher you are. Make a land vehicles check with charisma.
All right.
Now you got to put it in reverse. Are we gonna go through and learn how to parallel park this thing?
Now you don't have to know this for your test, but it's helpful whenever you're driving in the city.
And now, Vagnog, let's see you make an insight check to see how well you absorb Ewan's teachings.
Oh, this is up my alley. Well, would have been up my alley.
We got an action
many-
point.
Yeah, I
I'm
mean,
gonna use
we're
an
getting
action
late.
point.
Yeah, it's getting late. Let's use them shits.
That's not much better.
It's not better at all.
Well, see, I see the dice before they show up on the thing, and so I never know which one's the one that actually gets it. So I saw a 4 and a 5, but third time's the charm. There we go.
Okay. So Ewan, you feel pretty confident that you did well as a teacher. Vagnog, you feel pretty confident that you got this. So
Take rest. I will let you know if I need any help.
Sounds good. Time for some shut-eye. I'll flip the switches so that our low rider is like riding high, so we can roll over rocks and shit, right?
you're in a fever dream, Ewan. So did you guys stop at the edge of the bog beating the Fernia, or did you guys just keep going?
No, if she didn't respond,
Okay.
If she
plan
didn't
was to
respond to me, I
stop,
was just gonna
but-
keep going.
Okay.
I ain't trying to provoke her.
Yeah.
I like to think
FYI,
that is where the training happened. We're just doing donuts in her little pond filled with undead.
Yeah, you can't hurt anything here, so
They're just like random limbs flying through the air.
I will say, Vegnog, since you were probably on lookout at that time, you did notice like spirits rising up from the ground that seemed to be following you guys in case you decided to not follow through with leaving. All right.
That would just be funny if there were just like a line of ghosts between us and the castle, just aging us 10 to 40 years, one at a time.
Vegnog wouldn't really age, but he'd eventually rust.
right.
All right. So the plan is that you guys are going to do a long rest while Vegnog drives.
Yes.
Sounds
Okay.
like it.
All right. So then,
Need like an extendable eye socket so that we can like attach it to the periscope. So you can like see like locally right through your viewer, and then
if only you guys had an artificer on your team.
Right. Install some Wi-Fi in Vegnog.
All right. So we will end there. You guys will have a long rest. So I've deducted a soul coin for the day of travel, and then one of your days of rations. So you guys have 13 and a half charges left of in your soul coins, and 27 days of rations left.
Okay.
How many soul coins?
13 and a half charges. So you have 14 soul coins. One of them's only partially has been partially used.
Gotcha.
And this marks 13 days since you first entered Fernia.
Mm.
that all.
So that'll be the end of the session tonight. What did you guys think?
It was fun.
It
Yeah.
was good.
Glad we got something for visiting her. It's kind of cool that she was just like a hermit, like a necromantic hermit for her own
Mhm.
people. I kind of like that idea.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh.
I certainly from Solomon's perspective, the whole detour to find her seems like it was a waste. The only thing we got out of it was we now know there's like a shop somewhere on the giant monster. That was it. Well, you got a ring, but it's like an evil ring that we probably nobody will ever want to use. So,
Well, I
may
mean,
or may
maybe
not
we'll
be
see.
useful.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll put that thing on and hit somebody. See what happens.
Right. Although what may happen is your soul will be separated from your body.
Yeah. It is possible. It probably requires like some sort of attunement, and then it's cursed, and
Yeah, one of the things I was hoping for this session was just to kind of give you guys some of the dynamics between some of the warlords that are going on. Like there's a lot of power struggles that could potentially be beneficial or things that you guys may need to watch out for.
Yeah, that's why Vegnog asked her about her greatest enemy.
Mhm.
So we could go also to someone being totally powerless. But just to find out like what other forces are out here at work.
Like, go to them, say, "Hey, we heard you don't like this bitch over in that the undead area. What would you give us to go deal with her?"
I
Just start
think we should
collecting
start out,
shit like that.
right. We should start out the pitch with, if you will fix our tunneling vehicle.
Ugh.
All right. Well, thanks a lot for playing, guys. So FYI, not next session, but the session after that, the 16th, will be the day after my knee surgery. So, well, I mean, so I'm looking at Wednesday. Actually, the 15th is the day of my knee surgery. So I'm not sure if we'll be playing. It is just a arthroscopic, so it's not really intensive, but we'll see how I'm feeling.
All right.
It might be uncomfortable.
Yeah,
You might be taking pain pills the first day.
yeah, maybe. Or it'll be like my first time doing it, and I'm just you know, I ignored the crutches and I'm walking on it, even though the doctors told me that I shouldn't, even though we now know that that's exactly what I should have been doing. But yeah, surgeries are fun.